What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Sunday edition of the Pandemic Update for Sunday, July 14th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, or maybe you clicked on this video because you're doing some searching on YouTube or on the web about COVID because you or someone you know tested positive for COVID. Don't worry, you're not alone. There are a lot of people testing positive for COVID right now. No, the pandemic did not end. Don't be surprised. COVID's still out there. It's a big deal. There's other viruses that we're concerned about as well. You need to know what's going on with these viruses. So, again, if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Give this a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Share these videos with anyone you know, and of course hit that notification bell and leave your comments down below. Let me know, did you click onto this video because you just tested positive for COVID and want to know what the heck is going on? Let me know down below. Alright, it's Sunday around here at Data Report, which means we will be taking a look at the weekly wastewater updates. But before we do that, we do yet again need to get to several news stories, some which we did not get to the other days because it's just been so busy lately. And starting off with something that we briefly added at the end of yesterday's video, and we're going to go a little more detail on this. Colorado Health Department says that there has been 3 human cases of H5N1 bird flu in poultry workers. In notes, there are other workers who have symptoms and are currently being tested, and I heard that number could be as high as 50 plus people. So there is potential that this particular outbreak could get bigger in Colorado. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on this as we go through the week. It's not something that we want to see. H5N1 growing concerns have been continuing with this for multiple months now, and now we have yet more human cases, this time in Colorado, and like I just said, there are the potential for there to be more cases. Speaking of H5N1, an elephant seal in Antarctica tests positive for H5N1 bird flu, found dead on Robert Island. This is the first time a mammal in Antarctica has tested positive. Birds were infected earlier this year, so somehow this virus has now made its way over to Antarctica. Moving on. Greece. This is not good whatsoever. Greece. Nearly 100 people with COVID were admitted to hospitals in a single day. More than 520 patients with severe COVID-19 infections are hospitalized in the country's hospitals, with 90 of them in the ICU. So, an increase of 100 in a single day with only 520 in there? What is going on? This is not a good thing whatsoever, and 90 of them in the ICU. They will surely probably have some sort of a death wave popping up relatively soon. Moving on, we just want to repeat something that we showed earlier in the week that shows how much things are starting to increase here in the United States. In Virginia, emergency and urgent care visits for COVID-19. Nearly 2,000 people a week are attending emergency departments and urgent care facilities with COVID-19 in Virginia. So things are really picking up. We'll be sure to take a look at a couple wastewater sites there in Virginia as well. So, yes, this is not a good thing, and we'll just have to keep a very close eye on that. Something else that's not a good thing. Ohio. COVID-19 cases spike by 1,000 in a week in Ohio. So what that means is the number came in 1,000 higher than the previous week. Let's read on here. Cleveland, Ohio. The number of new COVID-19 cases in Ohio jumped by more than 1,000 cases, moving from 2,049 last week to 3,153 this week, the state reported. That's a big increase. It was the 6th consecutive weekly increase since early June, when the weekly case number climbed over 1,000 in a week. So yes, things are starting to go up in Ohio. It says due to the July 4th holiday, the Ohio Department of Health COVID-19 dashboards were updated on Wednesday instead of the usual Thursday schedule. The weekly trends and data, I bet some of this is probably a lag as well, but again, it is going upward. And let's see, can we find here how many people they've had in the hospital so far? And it says here, total reported deaths, 44,000 20, that's up by 2. Total reported hospitalizations, this is pandemic-wide. Remember, it's Ohio. They don't do active totals, they do pandemic long, the whole pandemic totals. 152,004 hospitalizations, that's up by 108. That's a pretty big increase. ICU admissions, 15,824, that is up by 3. Now moving on to this. This is something rather interesting. Tongue symptom could be red flag for COVID as new variant causes concern. This is coming out of the UK, and it says cases of COVID have begun to rise again in the UK. Well, they were rising, but they're now dropping in the UK actually, and the hospitalizations, though, as we know, that lags are still rising. But take a look here. Look at this tongue here. COVID tongue can cause white patches to appear on the tongue, as well as ulcers and swelling. And I did tweet this on X, and already it got a huge response of comments, likes, all that business. And there have been several people saying that they're starting to hear more and more about this. So it's something. Maybe the post I did on X, maybe in tomorrow's video, we'll go back and read some of the comments and see if we can learn anything more about this, but it's something that is starting to pop up. And as we know, in the UK, they do what's called the ZOE study, and sometimes they ask about symptoms, and people are starting to report that symptoms. So, with each new variant, new things can happen, which is why I'm saying every variant of COVID can cause different things to happen. Speaking of that, we'll take a look at the latest variants of COVID in just a moment. Want to give a plug for my website. You're trying to find anything about COVID or some of these other viruses, you can do that on my website. We track outbreaks. I've been tracking outbreaks of illness lately. Tour de France. I got a big update coming to that thread later in the day. If not today, maybe tomorrow. There's a lot more people sick now at Tour de France that have had to X their way out of the tournament. But you can find all this, and that new symptom of COVID, that's definitely going to make it into this website of mine somewhere. Anyone can sign up and make a post. It is free to do so, and the website is datareport.info. Taking a look now at what's going on with the allergy levels today, National Allergy Map is not updating today, but I can tell you that there is still a lot less orange on the map now, and there's quite a bit of yellow that's showing up in some parts of the country as well. And then taking a look at the air quality levels, they're not good. They're bad all across the country in various different locations. Look at the east, yellow, oranges. Look at the west, yellow, oranges. Localized areas of red. We're even seeing Idaho showing some bright orange now. So there's a lot of different places that are seeing bad air qualities. Heat-related illnesses continue to rise across the country, and we suspect that's going to continue for the next several weeks as we are in the middle of summer now. Taking a look on X, take a look at this. I have another place where I talk about climate and weather, and I'm going to be posting there this afternoon, where probably about the wildfires and some of the severe weather as well. That is Climate Data Report over on X. Philadelphia had 821 EMS incidents on Saturday. Taking a look at what's going on in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania right now. Wow, 17 EMS incidents, and I'm seeing some really bad ones. Cardiac arrest in Salford Township. I'm seeing respiratory emergency multiple times. Yeah, wow, very busy in Montgomery County for a Sunday. That is interesting. And Chester County, Pennsylvania, just 4 calls. Sick person, heart problems, sick person. And we've been seeing a number of sick person calls going way up as of recently. All right, it's Sunday. Let's take a look at the wastewater update. We're just going to take a look at several different places. Actually, first, real quickly, I did want to show you the COVID variants. KP.3 is at 36.9% nationally. KP.2 is at 24.4%, and LB.1 is at 14.9%. Now getting over to the wastewater update. All right, if you're new to my channel, this is the CDC wastewater page. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but there are various different colors on here. One which is not listed on the color code table, and that is gray sites. Gray sites have not updated. White sites are new. There's 50 of them. Sometimes we'll see a site that hasn't been shown in a while. It'll show up in the new category. 0 to 19% COVID detected. That's really low levels. That number just continues to drop because we're in a surge. High levels of wastewater is continuing. So there's only 155 of those sites. 20 to 39% COVID detected. 375, that's still low levels. 40 to 59% COVID detected. That's 364 sites. 60 to 79% COVID detected. That's moderate to high at that point. 240 sites and, well, high. That's these red sites. It's not orange, but red. 80 to 100% COVID detected. We're now up to 120 of them. Just recently, we didn't have 20, then it went to 50. Now we're at 120, so this number continues to rise. Where are these moderate to high sites? Well, we're starting to see some pop up in the Northeast states now, and you can see that here. There clearly is an increase, and there's quite a few of them starting to show up in the great state of Maine. York County, Maine's in the orange, showing a little bit of a drop. Cumberland County, Maine is getting up there. We'll take a look more of that on Wastewater Scan. That's another way that we can look at it. And here we see Middlesex County in Massachusetts is way up there, but it is showing signs of dropping slightly. Let's take a look at what's going on in New York City. Only a few sites actually reported there. Kings County, New York is rising and in the red. And what's going on? Here's another Kings County. Wow. Rapidly rising at this site in New York City. And we can see Queens dropping a little bit, 824,000 population. Sussex County, Delaware is dropping slightly. And let's take a look at Virginia, if we can. Allegheny County, Virginia. Wow, only 15,000 population, but rapidly rising at this time. Martinsville City and Henry is in the orange at this time, dropping slightly. And we can see here, as we continue on here, just randomly going, Norfolk City is dropping slightly at this time. Now let's click on one of these sites near Baltimore, and we can see, yes, in the red, and they are rising at this time. Continuing our way south, let's look at North Carolina real quickly, because Wastewater Scan doesn't have much there. Wake County, small site, in the orange, is rising at this time. Coming down here to Beaufort, South Carolina, wow, that is in the red and rapidly going up. And as you can see here, what much can I say about Florida? It's summertime. People are running inside to the air conditioners. And yes, COVID goes up in the summertime. We can see all these red sites. Florida's not doing well. Louisiana is doing really bad. Down near New Orleans, look at all these red sites. Yeah, totally ridiculous. Really high. The South tends to do bad in the summertime. And continuing on here, we can see, look at this, Arkansas. Quite a few sites showing up for Arkansas. Some red ones. Garland, that is rising at this time. Any of these Mississippi sites actually up in Jackson? Yeah, Jackson is light blue at this. Not terribly concerning just yet. Look at this. All the Houston sites randomly came back on the map. And near there, we can see that Galveston, wow, Galveston's going straight upward. How about what's going on in Dallas? Not updating at this time. And let's go up further to the north. How about no? We're going to go out to the west now. Utah, we're seeing a lot of red and orange here. And we'll take a look at a couple sites in California. Monterey is dropping slightly, but you are in the red at this time. And of course, LA, the best way to do that is over on Wastewater Scan. And look at the Bay Area. We can see here, there are just a ton of orange and red sites. We'll click on one of those sites in Wastewater Scan in just a moment. Take a look what's going on up here in Washington. We're seeing a lot of red, but possible signs of a peaking going on in Washington at this time. Clatsop, Oregon, 11,000 population. Look at that. You are rapidly rising at this time. All right, let's take a look at wastewater in another way. First off, CDC says the national level is now high across the entire United States. And look at this. Here's another way where they take all the sites in each state and average them up. Well, Texas comes very high. Florida, we know, is very high. We saw all those red sites. Very high in Nevada, very high in Oregon, high in Washington, very high in California, high in Alaska, still high in Hawaii. Not very high there anymore. Very high in Maryland now, high in Connecticut, and starting to increase across portions of the Northeast and the Great Lakes. We don't see any minimal sites anymore. Just very few of them, if there are any left. We're seeing a lot of areas in low, and I expect that to become darker blues over the next few weeks. All right, let's take a look at Chicago real quickly before we move on to Wastewater Scan. And in Chicago, 125th Street Wastewater Shed does show there's a slight increase at this time. Lakeview portion of Chicago. This is noting, and there is a note here, generally COVID-19 viral levels in Lakeview Uptown Sewer Shed over the past 3 weeks have been increasing. So you are in the red. Little Village, what's going on there? And it says COVID-19 viral levels in Little Village Sewer Shed over the past 3 weeks have been increasing. This is fantastic that Chicago does this. I wish we could see this for more cities. like New York City. I mean, we can go right down to the individual sewer sheds. This is a really big site here. What is this called? Strickany? I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. North, 1.1 million, and it is rising at this time. Is south as big as the north one? And the southern plant, that is rising as well at this time. All right, moving on to wastewater scan. We're going to do the nationwide levels, then we're going to go to regions, then we'll just do a couple sites before we finish out today's video. And we're only doing COVID today. We're not terribly concerned about the other viruses at this time, although there is an ever so slight rise for RSV nationally. But again, we're not terribly concerned about that right now. Nationwide for COVID, the levels are high. They have been rising. There's a little bit of a wonky movement down. I think that's going to correct to going back up again. Now taking a look at the Midwest, we do note that there is a pretty significant increase starting in the Midwest for COVID. Taking a look at the Northeast, again, one of those wonky movement upward, but I think that's going to correct, and I think eventually we will start to see the Northeast rising soon. Taking a look at the South, yes, the South is not doing well, even with that wonky movement. Look at the corrected movements. Yes, the South has really been going up for COVID at this time. And out on the West Coast at this time, again, the West Coast has been going up, but there's just a little wonky movement. I don't think they're going up that fast. It'll get corrected to showing it being less dramatic down the line. Let's stay with the West Coast for a moment, because we did do some sites in the East, but now we want to do some more West Coast sites. What is going on in San Francisco? Well, we can take a look at that. San Francisco COVID overall, since way back in May, has been trending upward. It's gone down a couple times, and then back up, and then down again, and now it's going back up once again, so that's not good to see. Let's go down and see what's going on in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles at this time, we do note that the levels are actually holding a little bit flat, which is different from what LA actually reports on their dashboard. Let's go to another wastewater site. This one, which is 4 million population, that's a huge number of people, is starting to trend upward. Let's make our way to the east a little bit, over to Las Vegas, and we do see in Las Vegas at this time COVID levels. Look at that. Some wonky movements, but maybe a sign of a peak, maybe going to start dropping. Unless they correct it going higher, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Going back eastward a bit, let's go up to, how about we go over to Indiana? Let's see what's going on in Bloomington, Indiana. And at that wastewater site, we do note there were some wonky movements, but it is starting to go back upward once again for COVID. Coming over to Pennsylvania, I want to take a look at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Because remember I said I think Pennsylvania is going to start rising soon. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania has actually already been rising since about middle of June. Take a look at that. Starting to pick up the pace. Now, I can't show you Center County, Pennsylvania. I wish I could, but there are multiple reasons why that could rise. They just had what's known as the Arts Festival. Today's the last day. They also have another festival that's called People's Choice. The two of them together draw over 200,000 people into the county. So that definitely could be a COVID super spreader. Something else to watch out for is the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, where they are having the Pocono race today, NASCAR. That also could be a super spreader. I think that gets like 75,000 people. So yes, there's lots of reasons why things could rise. Let's take a look at what's going on in Alabama, and we'll end it here. Village Creek in Birmingham, Alabama area was seeing a rise. Now there's one wonky movement lower, but overall it's continuing to rise. You get the idea. We're in a summer surge in the United States. So if you clicked on the video today because you tested positive post-vacation, guess what? You're not alone. There's a lot of people testing positive right now. In fact, it's estimated hundreds of thousands of people are testing positive for COVID each and every day. So yes, COVID is still a big deal here in the United States. And as we saw, there is now a new symptom with COVID, COVID tongue. Be on the lookout for this. If you test positive for COVID and have that symptom, let me know down below. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Sunday edition of the Pandemic Update. We'll have another edition of the Pandemic Update again tomorrow. We'll have a lot of things for you tomorrow. Monday, we usually get some weekly reports. Hopefully, we'll have New Zealand and probably some other stuff as well. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe down below. Share this video with anyone you know. And of course, remember to hit that notification bell. And leave your comments down below. I'll see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Sunday. Thanks for watching.